But my opening question, starting with you, actually, Layla, today to ring the changes, is what does this tell us about how we should deal with Donald Trump?
Well, I mean, we have been here before, and, you know, barely a day will go by where another thing Trump said makes us all go, well, what's he done now? And I think this is going to be the next 4 years. But we know, and we should have learned by now, that he's a playground bully. You know, this is a guy who responds to strength. He responds to a little bit of flattery. Who doesn't? But he especially, it would seem. I think the way that we tackle Trump is to be really strong about what we will and won't do, and also to pick a horse. I mean, I understand what the government's trying to do, ride both, you know, easy as she goes. But if we've got to make a choice, clearly the choice should be the European Union. They are our closest trading partner. They offer the most to our economy. And if we have to choose, I think we've got to be clear about that. That will help with Trump too.
Well, you're in line, of course, with the party leader, Ed Davey. We can show his tweet. The UK mustn't let Donald Trump bully us or our ally, Canada. He goes on to say we can't just sit back and hope Trump won't hit us with tariffs. He's proven time and again how unpredictable he is. Wendy Morton, we can't just sit back and hope Trump won't hit us with tariffs. He's proven time and again how unpredictable he is. Trump doesn't care who gets hurt. He'll use people's businesses and livelihoods as leverage. We must stand together against his attempts to divide us.
I think the thing here for me is that we can't underestimate the importance of the UK-US relationship. As Mike said, you know, Trump is the elected president of the US. He is, I feel, a strong bargainer. He's a businessman. He comes with a different skill set. When we were in government, we did start to set out what we would do. We've got trade deals. And it has to be about putting the UK's interests first here.
That's really interesting, Wendy, because on the one hand, we've got Nick Thomas-Symonds today giving a speech in Brussels where
the Labour politician doing the negotiations.
Where SBS agreement, the veterinary agreement, which is actually really important for British goods, is being suggested as one of the things that might come forward as part of a summit in May. And on the other hand, I remember vividly going out to talk to Trump's people when I was a member of the Public Accounts Committee many parliaments ago now, and then being very clear that actually what they want access to in our markets is farmers and fisheries, and they want to be able to flood our market with lower welfare foods, and that was top of their list of things that they wanted in sector-by-sector deals or however.
But do you think a US-UK trade deal is actually even on the table?
Well, I mean, Wendy's just suggesting that was one of the things that was in train, and I wonder if, you know, we shouldn't be taking any lessons from the Conservative Party about how to land a deal with anyone.
Layla, we speak as somebody who, yeah, I did vote Remain, I had some concerns. But I am a Democrat, and I believe in one thing, which is pragmatic decision making and delivering on what people asked us to do. And that is why I will go out there banging the drum for the UK and making sure that the deal that we delivered 5 years ago is not undermined, and we don't see it coming into the EU through the back door.
Look, everyone that I speak to in Oxford, West and Abingdon thinks the deal that the Conservatives struck was a botched deal. It is not delivered for the British.
Brownhills, Layla.
It has absolutely not delivered for the British people. But let's be clear about the Liberal Democrat position currently. It is not to sort of go ahead of ourselves. It's listening to small businesses.
But eventually you would
and
like
it's wanting, no, we're very clear about who we are. It's unsurprising to no one. But that said, small businesses tell us all the time they want to remove barriers to trade. And what we're talking about is a customs union. If Turkey can have one, surely we can negotiate one.
Well, and there are polls that suggest that have consistently suggested that actually they would like a closer
relationship. But it's also wrong to say that we don't currently already follow EU rules. Look at the bottle caps at the moment. Okay, now
wonderful they are.
Love them or hate them. I personally don't love them. But that said, we had nothing to do with those in terms of any negotiation. We just have to accept it because big business will follow what the EU does. And currently there is no mechanism whatsoever to feed in. With a customs union agreement, like Turkey, we would at least have a mechanism to feed in and have a say. At the moment, we've got none, and we have no recourse at all. When I speak to businesses, what they say is that it's important. They're aligning to standards anyway, because many of them want to be able to trade into Europe. They just can't. There's 20 to 30,000 fewer small businesses in this country now who trade with the EU than when we were in. And that matters. These are small traders who can't afford to set up these subsidiaries in Paris or Dublin or whatever, and they've lost their livelihoods. Now, if we can do something for them, that's surely good for the economy.
I mean, what's wrong with the government's position? I mean, what's wrong with the government's over trying? No, I'm asking Labour. I know you don't think there's anything wrong with the government's position.
But I mean, I think it's a good start.
Oh, right, OK.
So I know, I do think it's a good start. But I would
going back into the EU.
But can I finish? I do think that if the government was more ambitious and said it would want to negotiate a customs union, some of the things like an SBS agreement, like a veterinary agreement, would be easier to achieve because there is a direction of travel there, and it would be more likely the EU would be able to say yes.